Previously on Chinese Football Z, our heroes were dealt a crushing blow with 2 back-to-back losses against Saudi Arabia and Australia. This left our heroes' World Cup hopes dangling by a thread as all they could do was strive for the 4th round. Their next opponents would be Indonesia, and it would be a must-win game for both sides. Can our heroes keep their campaign alive? Find out next time on Dragon Ball. Find out next time on Chinese Football Z. I know what you're all waiting for. Just play the clip. But that shouldn't even really matter because, okay, look, listen. If we somehow lose to Patrick Kluivert's Indonesia, we might as well disband the national team on the spot. To be fair, I kinda set myself up for that one. So yeah, China failed to qualify for the World Cup. Again. Now, normally I'd go on an angry tirade ranting about everything that went wrong in this campaign, and a lot of things went wrong. But honestly, after watching this team decline for the last 11 years, I don't have the energy to be angry anymore, so I'm not mad. Really, I'm not mad.
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression, there is no...
Oh, who am I kidding? It's time for more ranting. China's first game of the window was a crucial match against Indonesia. This was do or die for both teams. Losing for Indonesia would put their fate out of their hands, while a loss for China guaranteed elimination. Even a draw would basically spell the end for us because of our atrocious goal difference. Now, going into the game, there were a couple of notable absentees on both sides. After his kung fu antics against Saudi Arabia, Lin Yangming remained suspended for the Indonesia game. Xie Weneng was also suspended due to card accumulation. Meanwhile, for Indonesia, their star player Marcelino Ferdinand and first-choice goalkeeper Martin Pais would miss the game too from suspension. June 5th, 2025, our day of destiny. This one day will make or break our campaign. It's not gonna end well for us, is it? Branko Ivankovic would once again give our young players a chance as he started 2 youngsters in left-back Hu Hetao and star boy Wang Yudong. This lineup is pretty much exactly what I wanted, other than Wei Shihao being benched. And China immediately looked dangerous. Wang Yudong was on fire as he took China's first shot of the game and later won a corner. We couldn't relax though as Indonesia were slowly growing into the game. The defense has been doing a pretty good job of holding them at bay so far, so as long as no one does anything dumb, it'll only be a matter of time until we...
No, but the referee says...
What? If you'll remember, I kinda lost my mind on livestream about that penalty call. Since then, I've gotten a lot, and I mean a lot of comments telling me that it was a penalty, there was no contact, I don't know what I'm talking about, yada yada yada. And after rewatching that clip countless times, I still don't think it was a penalty. Don't get me wrong, there was definitely contact, no one's denying that. However, to me, the contact is too soft for a penalty even in real time. The player is clearly lifting his leg, trying to sell this to the ref, and on top of that, he's lifting his leg when, from what I can see, the main contact is down on his calf. It makes no sense to me. Although, to be fair, on livestream, I did kind of over-exaggerate this. Yeah, I still don't think it was a penalty, but on the livestream, I made this decision sound way worse than it actually was. Mainly because the stakes were so high. Anyways, the penalty was converted by Indonesia, meaning we now had to score 2 goals. In the second half, China started by playing with more urgency as Wang Yudong lashes a long shot that comes agonizingly close to equalizing. If we keep this up, we might actually have a chance. But then the team fizzled out. As usual. What also didn't help was the ref. As if that controversial pen wasn't enough, the ref kept calling the softest fouls for Indonesia, often without contact. Meanwhile, our players were getting tripped and dragged to the ground, only to be waved away. And look, before anyone brings up that one missed handball call against Wei Shihao, that was one bad call in our favor compared to like 4 or 5 for Indonesia. But we can't just blame the ref. China's midfield and attack were so toothless, so non-existent, it was worse than watching paint dry. Nothing but useless passes and crossing to no one in the box. Who are we even aiming for? Waldo? Minutes from elimination. Needing 2 goals, and we somehow thought Ten Hag ball was the answer. Eventually, the final whistle blew. 1-0 to Indonesia, meaning that with 9 games played, a measly 6 points, 2 wins, 7 losses, and a negative 14 goal difference, China failed to qualify for the World Cup. That's right. 48 teams, and we still couldn't qualify.
Viven en un country. Andan en BMW para arriba. Los fines de semana se cogen a las mejores minas. Morfan bien todos los días. El día anterior al partido durmieron tranquilamente en un hotel 5 estrellas y se rascaron la verga durante 24 horas sin hacer nada, jugando al ping-pong y al pool y a la play. Juegan al fútbol todos los días de su vida. Los botines, $6.000, $5.000, no sé cuánto salen, ponele 3.000 mangos, 4.000 mangos, están vendados por un kinesiólogo. Están bien comidos, están bien entrenados, las medias que son las que no te cortan la circulación, los pantaloncitos que son los de los huevos que no te raspan los huevos, la camiseta te estira la espalda, es la que no transpira que sale 800 pesos, no sé cuánto sale una camiseta para jugar al fútbol. La pelota es perfecta, perfecta, 120 euros, inflada con un barómetro a 8 bares, la cancha no tiene un solo pozo, el arco tiene 7 metros 20 por 2,40. Te aplauden cuando salís a la cancha. La concha de tu madre no sabés parar una pelota. Le vas a pagar al arco y la tirás a la mierda. Le vas a hacer un pase a tu compañero que está a 1 metro. Y haces así, se la pasas mal.
What a disaster. We played like we didn't want to win. The mentality on the pitch just wasn't there, and players started making basic mistakes anytime the pressure ramped up. That isn't by chance either. One huge problem I never mentioned before about this team is that among the veteran core, we don't have good captain material. Wu Lei is the current captain but also been through massive injury struggles recently. Wang Dalei is always like 5 seconds away from bursting into tears, but those two are probably leaving soon. The other most likely candidates are Zhang Yuning and Wei Shihao. Chinese Nunez often gets injured when he plays a full 90, while Wei Shihao is way too hot-headed to be a good captain. When we have leadership problems that are this bad, it's no surprise our mentality is so fragile. And the attack was frustrating beyond belief. It's very clear we need a squad renewal. It's really telling when a pair of 18-year-olds are the only ones who can make anything happen. How ironic too, because for once our defense was actually really solid. Usually it's our attack bailing out our disastrous defending, but this time we managed to mess up in exactly the opposite way. And what makes me laugh even more is Branko's pre-match press conference when he said he tried to play total football. My guy. It's bad enough you're insulting our national team and my eyes with your style of play, but calling it total football? Johan Cruyff is turning in his grave. The torture doesn't end there though, we still have one more game against Bahrain. Before the game, there were some team changes. Forward Wei Shihao got suspended and defender Hu Hetao got injured, so they were sent home. Zhu Chenjie and Cao Yongjing also joined them on the way back. So to replace them, 2 other players were called up. Liu Zhurun, a forward for Dalian Yingbo, and John Ho Sater, the midfielder I hyped up who hasn't made a single appearance for the national team since naturalizing. Yeah, him. Although both sides were already eliminated and just playing for pride, this had some significance for us. Because if China failed to win this game, we would finish last in a World Cup qualification group for the first time in our history. So the goal here was to at least win. I'm not gonna lie, the first half was kind of boring. China didn't get many quality chances while Bahrain could only come close to scoring through a long shot. Both sides were holding strong. In the second half, Wang Yudong came alive as he nearly scored on several occasions. Even with both sides in a deadlock, our fans never stopped cheering, never stopped trying to give the team that extra push. Then our moment came. A loose ball is picked up by Wang Ziming and his cross causes a handball. Penalty to China. This is the moment. 18-year-old Wang Yudong, the rising star of China. The new prince of Chinese football, the man becoming Wu Lei's successor. He has the chance to save us from the spot. And under that immense pressure, he delivered. The Chinese fans go berserk as our wonder boy saves us from finishing bottom of Group C with a last-minute penalty. And that ends our 2026 World Cup qualification campaign. At 5th place, we are eliminated alongside Bahrain, while Indonesia and Saudi Arabia move on to the 4th round. Look, I may have complained a lot about the ref, but the fact remains, Indonesia just played better than us that night. I have no problem admitting that. So, congrats to Indonesia, all the best, and good luck in the 4th round. Although, if I have one piece of advice, don't let it get to your heads. Because you faced one of the worst Chinese sides in years, had 13 shots, and the only thing you managed to score was 1 penalty, so just be careful. Now, before I give my closing thoughts, I just want to highlight some players. And for this section, I'm gonna try to be a little less humorous and try to pay tribute to these players because as bad as this national team is, they still deserve respect for at least representing us. This is most likely the last qualifying campaign for several players. Wang Dalei, Yan Junling, Liu Dianzuo, Han Pengfei, Li Lei, Wang Shangyuan, and Wu Lei are all past or near the end of their peaks. These players are all expected to retire at least in the near future, and before they do, I just want to give them some attention. Wang Dalei and Yan Junling have been our mainstay goalkeepers for years, and that's why it's so hard to watch them leave. Since about 2015, these two have been our first choice keepers at different times, and both saved us on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, with both keepers aging and especially Yan Jinling becoming so error-prone, it's time for them to go. Then there's Liu Dianzuo, who is basically Chinese Ter Stegen. He's a decent goalkeeper at club level, it's just a shame that for our national team, he's only really been relied on for one tournament, the EAFF Championship. But who knows, if he decides to stay for the Asian Cup, he might finally get a chance to shine. Han Pengfei has sort of been a journeyman at club level, and for China, it's a shame he only made his debut this year because he's been pretty solid in the 3 games he played for us. Here's hoping he stays for the Asian Cup. Li Lei was brought in because Liu Yang at left back just wasn't working out, and the 7-0 loss to Japan was the last straw. Since becoming a starter in September, Li Lei has contributed greatly to helping stabilize our left flank. Sadly though, at 33 years old and with Hu Hetao on the rise, I think his time in our shirt is running out. Wang Shangyuan has been our first choice midfielder along with Li Yuanyi, and with the latter's future up in the air, I'm gonna focus on him. It's no secret China's defensive midfield situation is utter sadness, and since debuting for us in 2019, Wang Shangyuan has done his best to make up for the retired Zheng Zhi's absence. No one's saying he's even close to the same level, but he's always given his best in every game, and he's done well enough that I think I can send him off in pride. And finally, Wu Lei. I hardly need to explain why he's a legend for us. The man has been our main spark of hope through our bleakest times, but with his constant, frequent injuries since October, his future in the national team is also in question. I'm not sure what happens next, and it's incredibly sad that his last World Cup qualifying campaign had to end this way, but it doesn't tarnish his legacy. There's technically a chance he could stay for the next qualifying cycle, but with his massive injury problems this season, I don't think it's realistic. At best, I'm hoping he stays for the next Asian Cup, but if this is how it ends, I wish you all the best, Captain. Now let's go over the players who are staying. Most likely the only veterans left in the team will be Gao Junyi and Wei Shihao. At 29 and 30 years old respectively, there's at least hope they'll still be around for the next qualifying cycle. Gao Junyi has done his fair share in both defense and attack, while Wei Shihao has also been a huge help in both. Seriously, the man's work rate is insane. In the future, our defense will most likely be anchored by Shanghai Shenhua's center-back duo of Jiang Shenglong and Zhu Chenjie. They're both young, they've both been great this campaign, and it makes me believe our defense will be secure for years to come. Hu Hetao has also emerged at left back, providing a reliable replacement for the aging Li Lei. In midfield, I'm expecting great things from Xie Wenmeng. Despite how underwhelming our midfield has been, he has managed to contribute to our games, and he'll become a mainstay for the future. At forward, Zhang Yu Nunez used to frustrate me all the time, but he's really stepped up in this campaign, coming in clutch several times, even if his consistency is still a bit questionable. And of course, we can't forget our wonder kids, Wang Yudong and Liu Chengyu. These two were our main attacking highlights against Indonesia and Bahrain. Liu Chengyu tried his best to make something happen, it was just a shame he got minimal support, while Wang Yudong was our most dangerous player the whole time. These two are the future for our national team, and Wang Yudong is already being talked about as Wu Lei's successor. Time will tell, but I have hope. Okay, now that the player performances are out of the way, what's next for our national team? Well, after this campaign ended, Branko Ivankovic was fired from the head coach job, and this time I think it was the right decision. He was the first manager we had in a long time who was willing to trust our young players, but the results were just abysmal. Not to mention, the man was extremely stubborn about his tactics, especially the midfield diamond. I don't know about anyone else, but starting 32-year-old Wang Shangyuan as a lone anchor was only going to end one way. And with this campaign ending in disappointment, yeah, it was time to go. No more Croatian Ten Hag to ruin my happiness. At last, I have found inner peace. That leaves the question of who comes after him. I've heard people talk about Ange Postecoglou, which, it's tempting, but I don't think his playstyle really suits us. Promoting Zheng Zhi to manager is another option, but I'm not sure if it's the wisest idea because he has almost no experience being a first-team coach. We also have our youth team coaches. The U20s weren't bad, but if you ask me, my pick would be Gao Hongbo. He's currently serving as the vice chairman of the CFA, but previously coached the national team and did really well. He had a really high win rate as a manager, and people still question why he was sacked back in 2011. If he's willing to step down from the CFA, we should absolutely consider bringing him back. Although, according to Wikipedia, the next manager has already been decided, and Look, I don't want to get my hopes up for nothing. Please be true. I knew it. And this campaign, even though it ended in disappointment, it still had its highlights. Through all the pain, through all the disappointment of losing so much, I'll never forget the moments of elation, proving we weren't helpless against Japan, finally winning in the third round against Indonesia, and I'll never forget that last-minute winner against Bahrain. When Bahrain scored, I genuinely thought all hope was lost and we'd be crashing out within the next 2 games. But then, their goal was ruled offside, and just seconds later, Zhang Yuning scores the winner. In just a few moments, I went from utter despair to complete euphoria. It was such a powerful moment for me, I almost cried. We can't forget the fans either. No matter how bad we were, no matter how despondent everything seemed, our fans never gave up hope. Call it delusion if you will, but our stadiums had some of the best atmospheres through everything, and our fans will continue supporting this team through thick and thin. This is 100% cope, but we can't forget we were drawn into a group of death as well. Aside from the 7-0 game, we never lost by that much. We always at least put up a fight, and we could have made it through to the 4th round had we just been a bit luckier in the group draws. With our older generation slowly phasing out, being replaced by our young talent that has so much promise, this national team does have a future. I mean, even Wei Shihao said so in an interview before this window.
主场对申花那个比赛的时候，你还专门拿了一双你的球鞋去送给小朋友，当时是临时决定的，还是说已经准备好了要给他们？
当时是那2个小朋友就一直喊我，他那意思可能是球衣吧，因为球衣我们数量比较有限嘛，然后我就说你等一下，我说我进去拿双球鞋给他们。
为什么会这么宠小朋友？
还是那句话嘛，因为孩子才是未来嘛，我们必须要把未来那些孩子的希望的火种保留下去。
Look, there's no denying this campaign was a disaster, but with the old guard being replaced by a new generation of young studs who prove they can at least put up a fight against Asia's best, a generation that has nowhere to go but up. Maybe there is hope after all. Thanks for watching this video. This is like my 3rd time recording this because the first time my computer's fan just would not shut up. So I re-recorded it and then Branko got fired, so yeah. But anyways, thank you for watching not just this video, but also for joining me on this entire journey covering China's 2026 campaign. It's a privilege to talk about my national team and have so many people care about it. And welcome to those who just found my channel. If you're new here, I also cover teams like Barcelona, the Vancouver Whitecaps, the Canada national team. As of the time of recording, I'm planning to go to the Gold Cup later today. So, also, I'm planning to start covering the CSL soon. So, if any of that sounds good to you, then stick around. I'd love to have you. For China, we're competing in the EAFF Championship in about 2 weeks' time. I still don't know if I'm going to live stream it. Probably not, but I want to at least cover it. In the meantime, Chinese football videos will still be on my schedule. The Asian Cup is coming in like 2 years, so I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, what do you think? Will China ever qualify for another World Cup? I mean, we have to conquer this law of averages, so like eventually we will. But will it happen before the heat death of the universe? Let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, like and subscribe, follow my Instagram and my Twitter, yada yada yada, and I'll see you next time. Take care.